Hi students, and welcome to today's live IELTS class. My name is Adrian and I'm streaming to you from beautiful Victoria here in Western Canada. I hope that all of you are having a fantastic weekend so far. Thank you for joining me in this live IELTS speaking part 2 class where we will be talking about an item that you have sold. Welcome Fuang, hi Natty, Ramelia, Domenico, nice to have our members in class on time. Chen, good to see our chat moderator, welcome everybody. Students, this is a members chat class. To become a member, click the join button next to the subscribe button. If you don't see that button, send us an email, by the way. We can help you out for Apple users and some operating systems. Students, this lesson is presented to you by aehelp.com. For academic IELTS, visit us there. For the general IELTS, check us out at gieltshelp.com. These are the websites that power these live lessons. They contain all of our materials. These are basically the textbooks for these live classes. So if you're enjoying these live classes, definitely check out these websites. We will be using this website a little bit later on. This is aehelp.com. We will be using this website to speak with our viewers. Click this big red button that's just right above my head there to join our premium IELTS package. It's a one-time payment for lifetime access. And for general IELTS, you can use the green version. It's gieltshelp.com and click that big red button there that's just above my head. We are an IDP affiliate. We're a British Council partner. We're an IELTS test registration center, certified British Council agents. So you are in excellent hands for help. Chen has put the URL into the web or into the chat. Thank you for that. All right. Yes, Romelia, I see you there. I will do my best to give different people chances to interact. Romelia, I'm glad you're here, ready to practice. All right. Students, when you click that Join Now button, we have a new discount code for you. It's SURPRISE without the first R. SURPRISE 9 will get you a 10% discount. That is coming from our most recent video release. I will show you that in just a moment to help you practice your speaking. Welcome, Alexi. Nice to have you in the class. So again, use this discount code SURPRISE for a 10% discount, SUPRISE 9. And definitely follow us on Instagram, IELTS_AEHelp, GIELTS Help. Get our apps, Academic IELTS Help, General IELTS Help. If you have questions, send an email. Don't be shy. Adrian, aehelp.com, admin at aehelp.com. Either one of those are good for communication. Amazon has our books. You can check that out. Search for the titles. A helps Academic IELTS, G helps General IELTS. If you would like to order paper versions of the book or our exam books. And yeah, so right now, everybody, speaking part 2 coming up, and then speaking part 3 in about 2 hours. Speaking part 3 connects to speaking part 2. Speaking part 3 is an extension of speaking part 2. It's a conversation that follows speaking part 2. So definitely attend both classes if you have the chance. Then, as usual, no class on Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And then I'm back with more live classes on the 13th, speaking part 1. For everybody. This schedule, I will post it on our YouTube channel in the community posts. I will also post it on Instagram shortly after the classes today. So subscribe, and then you'll get notifications of these live classes. Students, we just released another practice speaking video. This video is a special type of practice for you. Check it out. It's really good. It's kind of like a karaoke. It helps you to learn intonation and speed for and fluency for speaking. So there is the video in the chat for you. Check that out when you have a minute. Okay, let's get to speaking part 2. So let's go through the steps and then we will practice the response. We'll give a Band 9 example and then we'll give a chance to students to practice as well. So the speaking part 2 comes about 5 minutes into your IELTS speaking. When you go and meet with the examiner, you will have introductions. You will give your name, a couple of answers on some general topics, your hobbies, maybe sports that you like or music you like to listen to. Those will be personal. And then the examiner will say, that is the end of part 1. We will now continue with part 2. For this part, I will show you some questions. You will have 1 minute to read these questions, think about your answers, and then you will have 1 to 2 minutes to speak. You can take notes in the 1 minute time if you wish. And as a student said to me just the other day cleverly, it's just like a recipe. You really just have to follow that recipe. And as long as you have a clear idea on the recipe and you follow it well, you can get a pretty good score. And it's true. You have 2 minutes, 1 to 2 minutes. You have to practice it. It's kind of like baking chocolate chip cookies. When you learn the recipe and you know how to make it and you have a time limit of 1 to 2 minutes to make it and you know what comes after what ingredient and what temperature to set the oven and what to do, you can make some great chocolate chip cookies. They'll smell great, they'll look great, they'll taste great, they'll have great texture. Hey, who knows? Maybe the item that you sold is chocolate chip cookies to your neighbors. Same idea with IELTS speaking part 2. As long as you know what you're doing, as long as you know the right steps, the right information, the timing, that 1 to 2 minute timing, and you put it together well, it's going to be a delicious batch of chocolate chip cookies and you will do great. Okay? I'm surprised none of our members has put chocolate chip cookie emojis into the chat yet. All right, so talk about an item that you have sold, okay? Read the questions carefully. That's your very first step, okay? The examiner will introduce to you the topic. Make sure to read the topic again, okay? Sometimes when students hear the topic, they just skip and they go right to the questions. Don't do that. Definitely read the topic sentence again, okay? That's one reason why sometimes students will go off or candidates will go off topic is because they just read the questions and they misheard or didn't really pay attention to the right topic. So pay attention, okay? So what is this item? Okay, well, let's jump back. Talk about an item that you have sold. What is this item? What did you use it for? When and where did you sell it? Why did you decide to sell it? And how do you feel about the sale? Okay. So, first of all, we have to figure out, after reading the card, what is our category? So again, a refresher and important information for those of you who are unfamiliar with speaking part 2. Part 2 focuses on one or a combination of the following subjects: person, place, object, event, or an idea. Each has some specific information that should be clearly organized to convey the answer coherently. Okay? So here, Alexi is very quick to say, object, it's an object. Yes. So we're talking about an item that you sold, right? Okay, I agree. So when we talk about an object, we talk about its appearance. We talk about its origin. Where did it come from? Where is it going? We talk about its function. How is it used? So how do you use this item, right? Its utility. Okay, so where do you use it? How does it help? Okay, and the experience. Sure, if you keep these in mind, you're good. All right. Now, the next one. This isn't just an object. It's also another piece here. So I would say it's plus something else. What else? So here, yes, in a big way, it is an object. We're definitely going to talk about primarily the object. But I think that there's another one of these 5 categories that comes into play here. So it's not just so what is it? So it's not an idea, Chayani. Talk about an object you sold. Right? So pay careful attention. Here, the item makes you think, well, it's an item, which is right. Okay, absolutely. The other element that comes into play here is it's a bit of an event, right? So the card focuses on the specific event of the sale. So have sold, right? Pay attention, students, when you have a very specific verb like that, right? Yeah, so Chayani, that's why you realize that, oh, probably the time of this event, right? Does everybody see that? That there's a bit of an event happening in this case as well? And when you talk about an event, you want to talk about the time, the location, the attendees, activities, okay? And the experience. Notice how the experience seems to repeat itself, right? Because that's, what we do. So Natty says, yes, I got it. It's an event. It's not just the object. It's also about the sale, right? Notice that here we have this question, when and where did you sell it? That kind of gives you that hint that you've got a bit of an event happening here as well. Okay. All right. Fong's got it. Fong said that was an event and an object. Yeah, absolutely, Domenico. When did you sell it? Right? So we've got an event. Okay. Now, the next step, for sure, is to think about 2 or 3 possible choices. Okay. Step 3, think about 2 to 3 choices. Now, Romelia said it's better to go for a common object like a smartphone, laptop, car, or something special like jewelry, book, or even an heirloom. Okay? Yeah, now, Romelia, remember that it should be somewhat original. Okay? So, I wouldn't go with a smartphone. Smartphone is way too popular. It should be original and easy to talk about. Smartphone also maybe not so easy to talk about. The smartphone is a phone and a computer. It's a very personal item. It's a very complex item. So it's not original, nor is it easy. Lots of content. Smartphone, there's definitely lots of content there, almost maybe too much because it's so personal, right? So I find that when candidates talk about their smartphone, it tends to be fairly low quality presentations, okay? So just on a personal note, okay, so when candidates choose to talk about their smartphone, it tends to be fairly low quality communication. One reason for that too is that there are just so many different smartphones out there, and people have such different experiences with them. So even though you think that the smartphone is the same for everybody, it's actually very different for everybody. It's a very personalized item. So the apps that we use, the phones that we have, the cases we protect them in, the way that we use them are all quite unique to each person. And that actually makes it fairly difficult to talk about to another person, because I guarantee you that you will not find another person who uses their mobile phone exactly the same way that you do. So it's actually quite a challenging approach. Okay, does everybody get that? So I definitely recommend candidates to stay away from the smartphone. Okay, all right, as a choice for discussion. All right, you're right, Romelia, that it should be some kind of common object. You shouldn't try to talk about a very complicated object that people have no idea of what it is, right? Like, I don't know, a centrifuge or something from a laboratory. I know, Romelia, that you work with laboratory equipment, and, you know, we definitely buy and sell laboratory equipment. I probably wouldn't choose a piece of laboratory equipment. It would be maybe a bit complex and difficult. But definitely some common objects. All right, so students, let's hear it. What do you got for me? Alexi says a computer screen. Yeah, sure. Or computer monitor, right? Alexi, if you choose it, make sure that you have the right vocabulary. A computer monitor could be good. Yeah, I agree. Especially when you have lots of information about it, like one of our listening exam sections on our website has to do with returning a computer monitor to the store. So that's good. Natty says a fish tank. Yeah, I think that's a good idea. Natty, a fish tank, sure. Domenico says a dining room table set. Yeah, okay. Josie says a plant. Josie, that could be difficult. Okay, plants can be tricky to talk about. Fong says a handbag. Okay. Romelia says an upcycled piece of furniture. Yes, again, Romelia, careful with the upcycling. If you bought it new and you're selling it to somebody secondhand, then that's called upcycling. If it's upcycled already, it means you bought it used and you're selling it again. So then it's an upcycled piece of furniture. Chayani says high heels. Okay, so sure, shoes. Yep. Domenico says a couch. Okay, sure. Maybe a freezer. All right. A bicycle could be good, Natty. Absolutely. Alexi, used book. Okay. For instance, I wouldn't really talk about a used book. Why not? Okay. So, you could sell intellectual property as well, Romelia, like a business, but that's not really an item that you sold. It's an intellectual piece of property that you sold. So I would be very careful. Or with a house, for example, which is a large piece of property, I'd be very careful. Remember, you have 1 to 2 minutes. Talking about selling a house in 1 to 2 minutes, I don't know about that. Okay. Dylan says coin collection. That could be tricky too. So you got to be careful. Used book, I probably wouldn't, because there's not enough info. I bought a book, I read it, it was really interesting. I wanted somebody else to have a chance to read it. I sold it for 10 bucks online, and I was happy to get some of my money back. End of story, right? 30 seconds. It's a little bit of a hard one to keep going on, especially if you're making it up. But then something like a house, or for example, coin collection, too complex. Difficult to talk about, right? Numismatic. So, for example, if you have a coin collection, you should know the word numismatic. I don't even know how to spell it. Numismatic means like collection value, okay, historical value. So if you don't have the vocabulary like numismatic, then you might not want to talk about that coin collection, okay? So careful what you choose. All right, you know what? I think Natty had a really good suggestion with fish tank. Now, fish tank could be tricky if you try to mix some really specific vocabulary in there, but hopefully not, okay? So you can keep that one fairly simple. So let's go with a fish tank. Why not? Okay. Okay. So fish tank it is. Now, fish tank, as soon as we figure out, okay, I'm going to talk about the fish tank that I sold a couple of years ago when I upgraded my fish tank, okay? Domenico likes it because Domenico's into biology and fishes, right? I thought that was a good one for a couple of you. And, you know, at some point in life, I think everybody has maybe had a fish tank. And if you've never had a fish tank, we're all familiar with fish tanks. And I think somewhere deep down, we all kind of wish or hope that one day we have a fish tank, even if we don't. Fish tanks are cool. Okay, so fish tank is a great choice. Yeah, it's a very visible object, right? And it's often sold. I don't know about, you know, where you live, but I know that in Victoria, where I live, I often see fish tanks for sale secondhand as well in thrift shops, online, and so on. People just seem to like to have fish tanks for a while, and then they get bored of their fish, or their fish die. Oh, I shouldn't laugh, but those poor fish. And then they meet with the gravedigger, aka the toilet, and then the fish tank goes online for another home, right? Okay, so the dining room tables, I think we did that a while ago, Domenico, a long time ago when we covered a similar topic, right? So let's go with fish tank. So fish tank notes. Okay, first of all, what does it look like? So the appearance. Thank you, Fulong, for that. Yes, fish die, unfortunately. So give me some notes. So here we're just going again through the recipe, right? So the appearance of the fish tank. What does a fish tank look like? Okay. Give me its appearance. Okay, it's transparent, obviously, yes. So rectangular. Yes, very good. It's obviously going to be glass. Remember, students, in the 1 minute, you shouldn't write down notes that are obvious. So you don't need to write down the pieces that are clearly in your head. So glass, not so important. You'll remember that. Okay. Okay, so Bogdan says it's maybe 15 by 30 by 4 centimeters. Bogdan, let's give those fishes a little bit more space. Okay, I think that that's a little bit on the small side. So let's go 30 by 30 by 40. Okay. So let's give them a little bit more space, right? Or Natty says you can do it by liters. Yeah, absolutely. Now I'm not going to do the math here, everybody, but let's call it 80 liter fish tank. Okay. All right. Good. Yeah. So you can measure it by volume, right? 80 liters, or you can measure it by dimensions as well. Now, You can think about this part 2 kind of like you're posting an advertising on Facebook Marketplace, okay? So funny enough, this practice, speaking part 2 in today's class, is also what you should be thinking when you're posting an item for sale online on one of those websites like Facebook Marketplace. I don't know if everybody has Facebook Marketplace in their country, but I do know that it's very popular here in Canada and the US. And when you write your description of what you're actually selling, this is what you want to include. So you want to obviously have pictures, right? That's your description, and then where you got it from, why you're getting rid of it, and all of that information, right? So you're thinking of the same kind of concept here. So the appearance is rectangular, 30 by 30, 80 liters. What else? So what else can you, so visualize the fish tank here, okay? And think about what else can be in the fish tank that is often included with the fish tank, okay? Chen says, we have Facebook Marketplace here. Chen, I think you're in Nepal, right? So in Nepal, you have it then? Okay, I'm not sure about other countries. Yeah, so Alexi says filters are included. Okay, you have filters. Yeah, you maybe have some fish food, okay, that you sold with it. Often people just give that with it, right? Because usually when, you know, the fish die, or, well, hopefully that's not the reason. Hopefully you just upgraded your fish tank. You might be giving fish food with it, okay? Domenico says maybe some soil or pebbles. Pebbles are those small stones, right? Okay. So you've got fish food, you've got pebbles, maybe you've got a pump for the oxygen, right? Maybe you've got some decorations, exactly. This is how you're building your lexical resource, right? So decorations, little castle, sunken ship, right? Okay, good. Don't overdo it. Remember, you've got 1 to 2 minutes. Again, you have to limit yourself, so you cannot do too much, okay? So now that you've got your ideas flowing, you're on the right track. You need to make sure that you get to the other parts. So the origin, where did it come from? Frankie's Fish Shop. And it came from Frankie's Fish Shop for 120 bucks. Okay. All right, that was the origin. When? 2 years ago or 3 years ago. Okay. So Frankie's Fish Shop 3 years ago. Okay. Where is it going? Right? Maybe to a teenager, maybe a 15-year-old, for 50 bucks. Okay? Do this part fast. It doesn't have to be reality. It can be completely imaginary. Just be specific. The idea here is to get details, okay? The main reason for your notes is so that you can add details to your recipe, okay? So ideally here you have the basic knowledge of how to make those chocolate chip cookies, right? What you're doing here is taking notes on how you can make them special, how you can make it into grandma's recipe, original, right? So you should be using your notes to give details to your response. Okay, and you should use your notes. So it shouldn't be words that you write down and then you never look at. Okay, you should be looking at those while you're doing the 1 to 2 minute speaking response. Okay. Domenico says Frankie's Pet Shop. Yes. Gopu, it's not that costly. Fish tanks can be very, very expensive. Now, one piece that we haven't included yet is are the fish, right? So maybe you had a dozen goldfish, okay? Don't overdo it. Don't try to think of very special kinds of fish. It's fresh water, obviously. If you know the vocabulary, like maybe Domenico does, because Domenico, that's his forte, that's his specialty, is marine biology. So maybe if, Domenico, you're talking about the fish tank, you're talking about a saltwater fish tank that has corals, that has shrimp and different kinds of algae feeders in there. And you have angelfish and all kinds of other interesting creatures, perhaps, okay, or had in there. But again, the goal here is to talk about the sale, right? Not to get lost in the fish tank, okay? All right. Now, the experience, or the, I should say the utility, right? So now, we don't have to explain to the person really too much how we use the fish tank, but more what we used it for, as decoration, pets, to relax, maybe set the mood in your living room. Okay, all right. Fish died. Or, you know what, let's not be so morbid. Fish didn't die. Upgraded to a larger tank. Okay, maybe 200 liters. Or maybe you decided to upgrade to a saltwater fish tank, because they're more colorful. And you've learned that you can take care of freshwater fish. By the way, for those of you who are inspired to have a fish tank after this class, I highly recommend starting with a freshwater fish tank. And then if you do a good job and your fish survive, sell your fish tank, or just get another one and then get a saltwater fish tank. Saltwater fish tanks are a lot more complicated than freshwater fish tanks, and a lot more expensive too. Okay, all right. Okay, you put the fish tank on Facebook Marketplace. Okay, activities. Okay, and then this teenager came, and what happened? Okay, so remember, event, the attendees. So 15-year-old kid with parent, with mom, right? And what happened? What do you think might be a good piece of information to include when you're selling a used item like a fish tank or a bicycle, which could really help your vocabulary? It would sound natural, and it could also help you with part 3 questions potentially coming up. So when these are the activities. So when you're selling that secondhand item, what do people often do? So especially in secondhand sales or with used items, I definitely would recommend trying to think of this kind of action or idea if you were to get this topic. Okay. Yes, Domenico, that's right. Saltwater fish tanks are attractive, colorful, but difficult to maintain. Chayani, very good bargaining. Yep. So they would bargain. So maybe you had it posted for $80 and then they bargain the price to $40, right? Or $50. Okay. All right. And then your experience, you use that money to buy banana fish for your new tank, and you're happy. Okay. All right. Yes, Josie, the discount. But again, Josie, do remember that you want to recall the vocabulary bargain, because you bargain for a discount. Okay. If I were your examiner and you're telling me that they wanted a discount, it would be a bit awkward. Discount is like, yes, we say, please, can you give me a discount, or can you give me a discount because I can see that, you know, it needs a little bit of repair. So that's fine. In that situation, in the secondhand situation, in a private sale, we use the word bargaining. They bargained the price. If you say they asked for a discount, it's okay. Discount is more applicable to actual store situations where the store is offering a discount on the product. But in the personal sales, secondhand, you're bargaining the price. Okay, so that's the main word that should be coming to mind. Got it, Josie? Okay, so use that wisely. Okay. All right, and then, of course, as many of you know, the last and not the least important step here is your first sentence. It's very important that you have your first sentence ready, okay? So when the examiner says your 1 minute preparation time is up, please begin speaking, you have to start speaking. You can't go for like 5 seconds. No. Okay, that's not good. All right, you need to really just jump right into it. All right. Don't say thank you for giving me the opportunity, and don't even say I would like to talk about. Okay, so don't say I have sold a lot of objects over the years, but the one I'd like to talk about today is. Yes, there are people online that tell you to say that. It's not good information, okay? Doesn't get you points. It's easy to memorize. That kind of a phrase will not get you points. It wastes your valuable time, okay? Or do not say thank you for giving me the opportunity, or don't even say I would like to talk about a fish tank. When you learn professional communication and professional presentation, as soon as a person says, I would like to talk about, your professional teacher or guide will say, don't tell people what you would like to talk about, just talk about it. Okay? And again, it's not me making this up. This is actually a very standard rule in professional presentation, okay? Yes, exactly, Chen. So Chen says it's 0% wasting of time. So Natty says, the item I have sold last summer in August 2022 was my freshwater fish tank. Yes. Let's give even more description to it. And then Natty, jump right into a reasoning, okay? So the item that I have sold, very good. Natty is using the present perfect here. So have sold, right? Pay attention to the present perfect. That's good. See, the item that I have sold last summer in June, or sorry, you wrote in August. In August 2022 was my fresh water fish tank, because I had decided to upgrade to a larger tank and invest in a saltwater fish tank. Okay. There, let's keep it like that. So right away, show complex sentence, okay? The examiners really like to hear these complex compound sentences that are linked together with some really good linking words, okay? So the item that I have sold last summer in August 2022 was my freshwater fish tank, because I had decided to upgrade to a larger saltwater fish tank. Good, strong first impression. This is where your first higher scores are made, okay? So So far, when you're in your IELTS speaking exam, let's say you did a really good job in part 1, you gave some great answers, and the examiner is thinking, hey, this student is quite good, I could possibly give them a nice high band score, like even a band 8, band 9. This is where the examiner is actually making their decision on that. So this is where they're like, oh, they are a band 9, or oh, they are a band 8. So it wasn't just the easier part 1 questions where they had very good communication, but they're able to truly communicate well in a more specific context. Okay. So the item that I have sold last summer in August 2022 was my freshwater fish tank, because I had decided to upgrade to a larger saltwater tank. And we probably don't even need to repeat fish. I wouldn't, just because it's intrinsic now. So I wouldn't say fish tank. Fish tank, now tank becomes fish tank. Okay. All right. Nat says, but with specific time in the past, we should use past simple. You don't need to, because August isn't a specific time. August is a month. Okay. So you're right, Nat. If the time is very specific, you would use the past simple. But August would not be considered a specific time. First of all, it's a month. A month is referred to in the present perfect. It's not a specific time. The other important point to keep in mind, everybody, is if you make natural mistakes that many native speakers make, and you'll sometimes pick these out, like in the conditional, the was, were, for example, the if I was, if I were, you don't lose marks for that. So in spoken English, we make some interesting grammatical mistakes that are natural parts of language. And one of those is people will sometimes use the present perfect with more specific times, even days. So I have seen that on Tuesday, okay? And that would be a mistake. So technically a day should not use present perfect. Technically it should be, I saw that on Tuesday. But native speakers will make that mistake. Or if it's very recent in time, like I have seen that a few hours ago, right? You'll hear that in spoken English. Technically, it's wrong, but naturally, it's used and it's correct, okay? So, and it's an interesting one, okay? Yeah, Bogdan, I would not talk about a laptop all that much either. A laptop is very similar to the phone, okay? Dylan says, I make mistakes with in, on, at. Yeah, those are your prepositions, Dylan. Prepositions are a real headache in foreign languages because they're different than in our own language. So you just have to really practice your prepositions, do practice sheets, and ask people to correct you. Prepositions are the Achilles heel of sounding like a native speaker in another language. It's basically the last piece. Even band 9 IELTS candidates make mistakes. Even native speakers make mistakes with prepositions. Prepositions are different in different dialects of English. Like in British English, they'll say, what did you do at the weekend? Americans will say, what did you do on the weekend? So prepositions are a mess. Okay, don't worry about it too much. All right. Okay, everybody. So let's keep going here. Let's put this response together, and then I want to hear you talk about items that you have sold. So definitely, viewers, members, make sure to pay attention, and also make sure to think about your part 2 response so you can volunteer in a few minutes. Okay. So I had originally bought this fish tank at Frankie's pet shop 2 years prior for about $120, including some accessories like pump, filter, mini castle, and a sunken ship. When I decided to sell the tank, I also sold these trinkets as a complete package. I put an advertisement up on Facebook Marketplace for a lump sum of $80. Lump sum means like a one complete or total price, okay? So I put an advertisement up on Facebook Marketplace for a lump sum of $80 for the whole deal. Within a couple of days, I had a few bites. Pun intended, everybody. I hope everybody kind of got that pun there. Pun is playing with words, by the way. If you can manage a pun, that's great. But don't force it, okay? So if you happen to get lucky and you come up with a good pun in your speech, that's fine. Don't try to force it, okay? So pun, a play with words. Okay, so my ad had a few bites. Fish also take little bites. And few bites in this case is an expression that means people were interested to buy it. Okay. It's an expression meaning interested customers, a few bites, okay? So that's because literally it comes from fishing. So when you have a fishing rod and you put your fishing rod out there and you put your line in the water and you've got your hook with your worm. Let's see if that's even on the screen still for you. Yes, it is. Okay. All right. So you've got your little worm there. Poor little worm. And then there come the fish, right? So and the fish are like, woohoo, yummy. Okay. All right. So your advertisement had a few bites. Within a couple of days, I had a few bites. And surely enough, a young man, about 15 years old, came by in the evening with his mother, and after about 5 minutes of bargaining, bought the tank for $50. Okay. Ultimately, I was happy to get rid of it as it was taking up valuable space in my living room, and I wanted to invest the money into buying a banana fish for my new salt water tank. Okay. All right, now if I get stuck, if I don't know what's going on, I panic. No, definitely not. There are some steps I need to follow. So firstly, I need to make sure I'm answering all the questions on the card. Okay. So what was the item? Yes, answered. What did you use it for? I haven't really answered that yet. When and where did you sell it? I've answered that. Why did you decide to sell it, and how do you feel about the sale? This is a two-part question. Careful about that, students. On the cue card, the last question is often a two-part question. Sometimes it's even a three-part question. So here I've answered the first part of it, but I haven't really answered the last part of it, okay? So what did you use it for, and how did you feel about the sale? Okay, I haven't really answered those, so I want to make sure that I include a clear answer on those, okay? I had the tank for a few years in my living room as both a decoration and a way to unwind after a hard day at the office, just taking my mind off stressful matters while feeding and observing the fish. Okay. Eventually, it got a bit boring, so I decided to get a larger, more colorful saline tank. Okay, saltwater tank can also be called a saline tank. Okay, it's a nice piece of vocabulary for salt. Okay, all right. I felt excited to get rid of it, and I knew that it was going to a good home where it would be enjoyed. Now, at this point, I realized, okay, I've answered all the questions, right? Because I had those two, I've answered them, so now I conclude, okay? So this is an item that and here we go, Romelia, we can use your suggested vocabulary, effectively upcycled instead of throwing it into the garbage. Okay, that's definitely where a lot of fish tanks end up as well, is in the garbage. People don't want to clean them, don't want to sell them. So you see those broken fish tanks in the garbage. And that's upcycling, right? So good word there. Upcycling is when you don't, so recycle is when it goes into a machine, it gets broken into pieces and then reused in some other form. Upcycling is basically where you sell it secondhand, okay? All right, everybody, and that's definitely a 1 to 2 minute little speech. Oh, by the way, did everybody check out the task 2 essay with the trying to figure out if I wrote it or if the AI wrote it on the community post from yesterday's class? I posted that. I said I would, and I know sometimes I don't follow up on it, but this time I did because I'm really curious if people will be able to figure out which task 2 essay was written by ChatGPT and which one was written by me. So I put that task 2 from yesterday's class, the essay, onto the YouTube community post. So check that out and see if you can figure out which one I wrote. I was pretty surprised. ChatGPT did a good job, and what was interesting is the length of the response was almost identical by the AI. So that was kind of interesting to see. Fuang says, yes, sir. Well, we'll see who thought what and what they voted. Okay, students, let's practice this. So let's do it. Let's go through the question again, just to make sure we know what's going on, especially for people who might be just joining in. And then we'll go through the response. So again, everybody, this is speaking. So speak and repeat. Okay. Copy what I say, copy how I say it. Okay. So the examiner says that is the end of part 1. We will now continue with part 2. Talk about an item that you have sold. What is this item? What did you use it for? When and where did you sell it? Why did you decide to sell it? And how do you feel about the sale? Your 1 minute preparation time is up. Please begin speaking. The item that I have sold last summer in August 2022 was my freshwater fish tank because I had decided to upgrade to a larger saltwater tank. I had originally bought this tank at Frankie's Pet Shop 2 years prior for about $120, including some accessories like a pump, a filter, a mini castle, and a sunken ship. When I decided to sell the tank, I also sold these trinkets as a complete package. I put an advertisement up on Facebook Marketplace for a lump sum of $80 for the whole deal. Within a couple of days, I had a few bites. And surely enough, a young man, about 15 years old, came by in the evening with his mother. After about 5 minutes of bargaining, bought the tank for $50. Ultimately, I was happy to get rid of it as it was taking up valuable space in my living room, and I wanted to invest the money into buying a banana fish for my new saltwater tank. I had the old tank for a few years in my living room as both a decoration and a way to unwind after a hard day at the office, just taking my mind off stressful events while feeding and observing the fish. Eventually, it got a bit boring, so I decided to get a larger, more colorful saline tank. I felt excited to get rid of it, and I knew that it was going to a good home where it would be enjoyed. So this is an item that I effectively upcycled instead of just throwing it into the garbage. Okay, your time is up. I will stop you there. I will take back the questions, and we will now continue with part 3. All right. That's it in a nutshell. Or should I say that's it in a seashell? Da-da-dun-dun. Nutshell is the expression. But a seashell is the play with words, right? Okay, so again, students, if you can throw a play with words in there, fine, but just be careful with it. It has to sound natural, okay? What's most important is that you're using a broad range of vocabulary. So you can see here we're using present perfect, we're using past perfect, had decided, we're using expressions, okay? We're using some slang instead of $50. That's why I put bucks in there, okay? Both and. We're using correlative conjunctions. Okay. All right. So that's what you need to do. That's what you need to do. And that's what I want you to do over the next half an hour or so while you volunteer. Okay. So here's your chance, members and premium users of the website, to practice this part 2. Okay, this is how you do it. So you go to the website. Alexi has kindly put the instructions into the chat. Follow Alexi's instructions in the chat. Go to the website and log into your My Student account. If you don't have a My Student account, you can create one in one of 2 ways. Firstly, and very smartly, you can create one by joining the premium version of our website by clicking that big red button that's just above my head there. It's a one-time payment. lifetime access. The other way you can create it is you can create a free account. This is a free function of our websites. We just want people to be able to speak English. So the student partner speaking is 100% usable and free, no time limit. You can click on the green try demo and get your student account that way. And then when you're in your My Student account, you will see lots of goodies, computer-based practice exams, full online course, and you will see the student partner speaking right there. Click on that, and then you will be opening another page, which is the interaction page, where you will see Mira, Syed, Vladislav, one of our premium students, Krishna, Sanzar, Aziza, Fuang, Alexi, lots and lots of people. And all you have to do is find me. I will be in here as master as I just open this up. Okay, and then you can click on the blue envelope that's beside my name and send me a message. Say, I want to try, I want to volunteer. Now, if you're new, if you're doing this for the first time, especially if you're using a mobile phone, if you're using a Wi-Fi connection, if you're doing this while you're sitting on the bus or wherever, first you need to practice with somebody else. A couple of reasons it's a good idea. So you're using your English. Also, you try the system. When I say practice with somebody else, I mean another person that's in here. So send them a message and say, hey, can you try this with me? I want to make sure it works on my phone or it works on my laptop. And I want to warm up. You can do a part 2. I'll do a part 2 and then I'll volunteer. Okay? All right. So let's take somebody. Okay, looking for some of our members here. Romelia, I see that you're in here, and I know you wanted to give this a shot. Are you ready? We haven't heard from Romelia, and I'm just not sure if she's not sending me a message, but I'll send you a message this time, Romelia, since you told me in the chat that you really want to give this a shot. Okay. If you do, let me know. It seems like we're not connecting for some reason, Romelia. Oh, you're not there anymore, Romelia. Not sure what happened. Aha, it's connection problems. I see. That's why I lost you. Okay, let's try Chayani. Chayani, are you there? Chayani from Indonesia, who is a regular student, a member, a premium member, hardworking. Chayani, if you want to give it a try, let me know. All right.
Hey, Adrian.
Hi, Chayani. How are you?
I'm doing great today. So this week I'm a bit busy because I'm regularly practicing for my choir for Easter Mass.
Oh, right on. You've got a lineup of songs, I'm guessing, for Easter then, right? Good for you.
Thank you. How about you, sir?
I'm doing great. Thank you for asking. Yeah, it's Easter break here as well, so I've got a bit of time to spend with my kids, which is good. So yeah, absolutely. Okay, Chayani, an item that you sold. Are you ready?
Yes, I am.
Okay, I will start you off. So here we go. That is the end of part 1. We will now continue with part 2. Talk about an item that you have sold. Your 1-minute preparation time is up. Please begin speaking.
An item that I have sold last year was my navy high heels in March 2022 because I had decided to change another one with a suitable size high heels. I had purchased these high heels at Bershka retail shop around 2019 for about 50,000 rupiah with 1 centimeter sole and a bow in the top of the heels. When I decided to sell these heels, I also sell a pair of heels, heels as a complete package. I put an advertisement on Instagram Shop and also Shopee, uh, uh, with the lower cost around 350,000 for the whole deal. And just within 2 days, I received a few customers, especially a young girl with her mom came in the afternoon, and for 3 minutes bargaining and bought about two 250 rupiah. I mean 250,000 rupiah. And finally, I was in the cloud of the nine because of the shoes can be handy again for another person instead of place useless in the edge of the room. Aside from that, I can purchase another size of shoe which is suitable for me, so I can use it for another event such as birthday party or graduation. Okay.
All right, I'll stop you there. Chani, first of all, 2 thumbs up. That was really good. Okay, nice fluency, nice structure, good information. Fantastic. All right. So you definitely gave me a very clear idea of what the item was, where you got it from, when you sold it, where you sold it, who you sold it to, how much you sold it for. You gave me a bit of a description of the item as well. So overall, that was very solid. That would be at least a band 7.5. Okay, and you were fast. I just could not keep up with you with my typing. Which is fine. That's good to have. I didn't catch every single word that you said 100% clearly, but that's also because we're doing this through the internet. In fact, we're doing it through a live YouTube session as well. So there's a lot of pieces going on. When you're sitting there face to face, you'd be clearer for sure. You told me that you used Instagram as well and Shopee. Okay, a little bit fast. I think you could have given a little bit more detail, and there were a couple of places where the English was slightly awkward. Really be careful about idioms, okay, and how you use them, Chinese, especially when you speak quickly. You said, finally, I was in the cloud of the nine. And I'm like, okay, that's a very different way to say that idiom. It's I was on cloud nine is the idiom. You can only use that in that way, okay? So I was on cloud nine. Now,
Preposition.
yeah. Now the other reason that it's a little bit awkward. So not, you used it nicely. So you did put it in there quite smoothly, although it was not the correct form of the idiom. So that would definitely have cost you some points there. But the other reason is when people use this idiom, like I'm on cloud nine. Just to make this clear for everybody, because I know people like using certain idioms like I was on cloud nine or I was over the moon. Okay. These two idioms, everyone watching, are first of all overused by IELTS candidates. So you can still use it as long as it's natural, but do know that they are overused. So sometimes even if you use it correctly, the examiner won't really give too much credit for these specific idioms just because they're used so much. And in some cases, they will actually almost take away marks because these two idioms, Yani, they mean that you are extremely happy, okay?
Yes.
And generally, when we sell a pair of shoes, we're not extremely happy. We're not like, woohoo, that was awesome. Wow, I just sold those shoes. Oh my God, I can't believe I just sold those shoes. Right? Like we're not like that happy usually, right? So it's not the right context. When I buy my first car or when I buy my first house, then I'm over the moon. Then I'm on cloud nine. Or when I get married or when my child is born, then I'm on cloud nine. Selling shoes, do you get what I mean? Right?
Yeah, I know. It's a wrong expression, I guess.
It's the wrong context, right?
Oh,
Like it's like saying jumping for joy. Like you don't jump for joy when you sell or buy shoes. Some people do. I mean, I get it, right? Some people just get really happy about buying or selling shoes, but generally speaking, no, right? So it feels a bit forced. So just be really careful with that, everybody. But you should practice it. So I think it's good that you're practicing it. Okay, in the real exam, be careful. Okay, make sure the context is right. Okay.
okay.
All right. There were a couple of other slight grammatical word choice mistakes. You said just within a few days, I received a few customers. You didn't receive the customers in a few days. You received interest, or you received a response or a few responses in a couple of days, but not the customers. Okay. So
Okay.
just within a few days, I received a few responses, and eventually a customer came to buy them. Okay, buy the shoes. Okay, so just repeat after me, Yanni. Just within a few days, I received several responses, and eventually a customer came to buy them.
Just within a few days, I received a few responses and eventually a customer came to buy them.
Yeah, or came to pick them up.
Right, to pick them up.
Yeah, when you buy an item, especially used online, and you go to somebody's place, you pick up the item. You pick them up. Okay. All right. Finally, last note to just avoid an awkward situation in the IELTS speaking exam. So you said that you're happy that they went to another person instead of just lying around in the middle of the room. Instead of just lying around in they don't. Well, hopefully your shoes don't lie around in the middle of the room. In the where do they lie around, the shoes?
In the edge of the room.
Or in the closet, right? So if you have
Yeah.
like one of those closets to put it in, or at the entrance, or if you really want to be fancy, like if you put your shoes down at the entrance of your house, it's your foyer. Foyer comes from French. So lying
Foyer.
around in the foyer. Okay. All right. But they often lie around in a closet. So lying around in the closet. And then you said, okay, as you finished. Right? You're like, okay. If we were sitting in a coffee shop, Yanni, I'd be like, okay. So so here, okay is not the best concluding word or sentence in this case. So you'd want to, say something a little bit different. Do you want to try that concluding sentence without my help?
But I don't have any idea.
Just try it.
That's
Whatever
why I
comes to mind.
ended.
I got that, but anything else? Try a sentence. Try any sentence that comes to mind to kind of conclude this.
Uh, can you give me some examples, sir?
Yeah. So I would say something like, so I'm happy I got rid of these shoes, and I'm sure they will not be the last pair that I sell to a happy customer. For example, something like that, right? So just repeat after me. So I'm happy I got rid of these shoes, and I'm sure they will not be the last pair that I sell to a customer.
So I'm happy I got rid of the shoes and I'm sure they will not be the last pair that I sell to a happy customer.
Okay, good. Yeah, I tried to avoid the happy, but instead of happy, we could use satisfied. Okay, satisfied customer. So we definitely want to, in speech, it's more acceptable to repeat some words just because we don't have as much time as in writing to edit and replace. But we do want to practice avoiding repetition of words as much as possible, especially within the same sentence. So, Yanni, overall though, 7.5. That's solid, right? So no complaints there. So that was good. Keep up the good work. Okay, keep practicing.
Okay, thank you, sir, for your feedback.
Bye, Jenny.
Okay, bye. Happy
Oh. I think Chani said Happy Easter. I caught that, Chani. And all the best with your singing and your performances. Okay. All right. Fuang, I don't think Fuang's had a chance in a while. Fuang, I just need to refresh my page here. My WebSocket's closed, so I'm going to just do a shift refresh. But if you're there, Fuang, send me another message, and then I will connect with you. So again, students, sometimes you got to refresh the page, especially in these live classes. There are a lot of us pinging the servers and each other. So it's worth the odd refresh. Okay. And thumbs up to Yanni for putting herself out there. Okay. Fuang, if you're there, join in, refresh. Oh, there you are. Yep.
Hi, sir.
Hi, Fuang. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you, sir?
I am doing quite well. Thank you for asking. All right. Fuang, do you have Facebook Marketplace in Vietnam?
Yes, sir. We have Facebook Marketplace and the local in around in my city. They sell a lot of furnitures or clothes on Facebook Marketplace every day.
Okay. Do you ever use it? Do you ever buy on Facebook Marketplace?
No, I haven't used Facebook Marketplace. Instead, I use Shopee to sell some item like sneaker or dress.
Okay. All right. I'm not that familiar with Shopee, but it's kind of new for me. So, okay. All right. Fuang, I will start you off. Here we go. Are you ready?
I'm ready, sir.
Okay, so that is the end of part 1. We will now continue with part 2. For this part, I will show you some questions. You will have 1 minute to think about your answers and 1 to 2 minutes to speak. Talk about an item that you have sold. Your 1 minute preparation time is up. Please begin speaking.
An item that I have sold last winter on e-commerce website Shopee in December 2022 was a pair of sneakers because I had decided to purchase new colorful ones. These shoes were made of pleated fabric, plastic, and in the whole in white color. I bought these 4 months ago while I was surfing around the Sneaker Holic Vietnam website. I thought that I would definitely be stylish when I wore new trendy sneakers to my university as the beautiful in white color. And I would love to get it as soon as possible, although it cost me an arm and less at around 2 million Vietnam dong. I can say that I'm a fashionista, so I have a habit of purchasing at least 2 sneakers every 5 months for both myself and my family member. To adapt my passion for stylists, I made the decision to sell the lovely sneaker on Shopee and provide vouchers for the customer with 20% discount. After a few days, I posted an advertisement online. I had a few bites. A lovely high school girl sent a message to me to buy it after 10 minutes of bargaining. Uh, I was really grateful that it were good deals. I have returned on my the monies as well taken some step into business by Son Sneaker.
Okay, I will stop you there. Your time is up, and we will now continue with part 3. Wow, Fuang, that was amazing. That was really good. Double thumbs up. That was really good. First of all, I'm very impressed by how you were able to incorporate a lot of vocabulary that I covered in not only this class, but in previous classes as well. I'm not sure, members and moderators, if you caught that, but Fuang effectively incorporated about 7-8 different words and expressions that we have covered in this class and in previous classes, like stylish, fashionista, which is very modern, adapted English, voucher, for the discount. You had some bites. I loved how you used that brand new expression that I just taught. You had really nice descriptive language. So viewers, members, when you're going for those higher band scores in the IELTS, the examiner is definitely looking for outstanding use of adjectives and adverbs and descriptive words. Like when Fuang said high school girl, she didn't just say high school girl, she said a lovely high school girl. And it's this lovely that gets you that extra point, which pushes you to the higher band scores. So I can easily say, Fuang, that would be a solid 7.5. And I think if I heard you a little bit clearer, because we've got a lot of background noise there, I might even give you an 8 for that, just because it was so nice. Also, Fuang, I like how you paid attention and you started slowly. So you really pronounced the start of your response so that it's absolutely clear and you're not rushing, because you know that one of your weaknesses is your pronunciation in some cases. So you want to make 100% sure that your topic sentence is clear for your audience. So an item that I sold last winter on an e-commerce website, Shopee, is a pair of sneakers. And you made sure that that was absolutely clear, no matter how much traffic sound, no matter the pronunciation, it was 100% clear. And that's very, very good, okay? So a lot of very good content. Keep working on that pronunciation. There were a couple of slight grammatical mistakes, but they were just very slight. The difference between present, past, perfect in a few places. So work on those. Overall, though, very impressive, Fuang. I loved it. Any questions about part 2, Fuang?
I want to use like you have said with Chayani, don't use over the moon because it will lose marks. So I avoid to ask them into my speaking, sir.
Yeah, and you know, you didn't use idioms like over the moon, and it just sounded clean and clear, but you did use, for example, had some bites, and that would be considered idiomatic language. So this is always what I tell candidates in the real IELTS. You should actually avoid those complicated idioms and just use more simple ones. They will still get you great scores, and you can get a band 9 without having those very complicated long idioms in there, especially if a person's not using them correctly. Then it's going to be anything but a band 9. So yes, it's good to avoid those in these cases, okay?
Okay, sir.
All right. Good job, Fuang. Keep it up.
Thank you, sir, for giving me feedback. See you next class.
Bye, Fuang. Bye for now.
Bye-bye, sir.
All right. That was really good. Yeah, thanks for the thumbs up, everybody. Fuang really deserves it. Okay, let's see. I think Bogdan has not had the chance. If, by the way, you are a member and you're not in the chat, join the chat in YouTube and let me know so I know that that you are a member. Okay, Bogdan, I don't think we've spoken with you. I try to I don't have a physical list of who has volunteered, who hasn't, everybody. So if you haven't had a chance for a while, then let me know. Put it into the chat. Say I haven't had a chance for a while, so let me know. Okay, I think Bogdan has not had a chance for a while, so we'll reach out to Bogdan.
Hello.
Hi Bogdan, how are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. Still doing fantastic. Absolutely. All right, Bogdan. So can you remind me what country you are in right now?
I'm in Ukraine right now.
You're in the Ukraine. Do you have Facebook Marketplace in the Ukraine?
Yes, we do, but we rarely use it because we have our local marketplace, which is called OLX. It is an Ukrainian platform where people usually sell different items. But yeah, sometimes even people use marketplace, but not so often.
Okay, got you. All right. Well, let me start you off for speaking part 2 here. Here we go. So that is the end of part 1. We will now continue with part 2. For this part, I will show you some questions. You will have 1 minute to prepare and 1 to 2 minutes to speak. Talk about an item that you have sold. Your 1 minute preparation time is up. Please begin speaking.
Okay, the item that I sold 2 weeks ago was my AirPods first generation, because I had decided to upgrade them to a new AirPods Pro second generation, which have not only better sound quality but also better noise cancellation. I had bought my original earbuds at a local Apple store, about 2 years ago for $250. They are white, 3 centimeters long each. They can be recharged in a white case, which is about 6 centimeters in length and 4 centimeters in width. I had been using them mainly for listening to music or podcasts while commuting to a university, either by bus or by the subway. Eventually, I put an advertisement up on Amazon for $150. After a couple of days, I had a couple of bites, and there was that guy whose name was, as I remember, Mike, who was extremely interested in buying these earbuds. He texted me and he wanted to bargain for the price. And eventually, after a couple of minutes of negotiation, I decided to lower it to $100. And the main reason that I wanted to sell them was because every time was when I was in the subway, I literally couldn't hear the music, and I thought that acquiring new AirPods with noise cancellation would improve my listening experience. And I felt really happy to sell them because I knew that I would be using the new pair soon. And so this was the item that I sold successfully instead of storing it on my shelf.
Okay, your time is up. I will stop you there, and we'll now continue with part 3. All right, that was awesome, Bogdan. Wow, you get a little clap from me for that. That was great. All right, so first of all, everybody watching, members, really, I tip my hat to you for your effort to use vocabulary in context right away. You use the I had a couple of bites, just like Phuong did as well. That's very smart when you're learning a language, to immediately implement new expressions, new vocabulary in your speaking and in your writing as soon as possible. That fixes the information in your brain, and that works really well. Another aspect of your response, Bogdan, that was very clever, was the way that you really followed the concept of talking about the appearance, the utility of the object, the location. I'm not sure if did I just lose you, Bogdan?
No.
You're still there. Okay, maybe the noise canceling finally kicked in, and I didn't hear the static. So, but anyway. So very good logic, very good item. So see, instead of talking about a phone or a laptop, you took a simpler piece of technology like headphones or AirPods in this case, right? Yeah. And that was very smart. You use the correlative conjunction, not only because they have better battery life, but also because they have very good noise cancellation. So very, very nice. Nice collocations as well. That would be a band 8.5. There were a couple of small, slight oddities, a couple places where you got a little bit stuck on the language, but overall that was very, very good. Here, let me teach you another nice piece of vocabulary in this context. So you had a very good concluding sentence. You said, I was really happy to sell this item instead of just storing it on my shelf. Instead of having these become dust collectors on my shelf. Okay, so here's an interesting expression, a dust collector. A dust collector is an item that is no longer in daily use. Okay, and in the world of consumerism, we have a lot of those items. So, and so just repeat after me. I was really happy to sell these instead of having them become dust collectors on my shelf.
I was really happy to sell this instead of them becoming a dust collector on my shelf.
Yeah, notice this tricky grammar here. Instead of having these become,
Instead of having,
yeah, I'll say it one
okay.
more time and then just repeat. Instead of having these become dust collectors on my shelf.
Instead of having these become dust collectors on my shelf.
Yeah, so that's that
Okay.
advanced grammar there to pick up even more points, okay? All right, Bogdan, fantastic. Nonetheless, really good. Challenge yourself, okay? So clearly you have very good English. Clearly you have a lot of vocabulary and, you know, you're comfortable with English. So continuously challenge yourself with more and more difficult grammar, more and more difficult vocabulary. Pick up, you know, complex books that challenge you even more, okay?
Yeah, okay.
All right, keep it up,
Got this.
Bogdan. Thank you so much.
Okay.
All right,
Thank you for the feedback and happy Easter.
happy Easter to you as well. Bye, Bogdan.
Goodbye.
All right, that was Bogdan, everybody. That was great. He definitely deserves a thumbs up. Yeah, Alaunus says, I really enjoyed his speech. Absolutely. I agree with you, Alaunus. That was a very enjoyable 2-minute presentation on a pair of AirPods that he had sold online to a guy he remembers as Mike. I'm sure it was made up guy, but it worked. By the way, I really liked that. I liked how we had a specific name. It's like immediately we had this guy Mike buying and negotiating. Bargaining, maybe a better word there than negotiating, but negotiating is okay. All right, everybody. So again, use that chat interface on the website, okay? aehelp.com, click the big red button, do yourself a favor. As you can see, we've got lots of premium students. I'm sure they're all taking some value out of the course at some point, whether it's the audio, the practice exams, the strategies from the course, the videos. It's good to have. Okay, for general IELTS, it's the green background. Again, just this big red button that's there. And I'm coming back, everyone, in 30 minutes for Speaking Part 3, which continues from Speaking Part 2. So if you enjoyed this class, stretch your legs, grab a glass of water, hydrate, maybe grab a couple minutes of fresh air on your balcony or step out for a minute and then come back. Rejoin, visit the websites in the break in the meantime, aehelp.com, glshelp.com, and then we will push forward with Speaking Part 3. Romelia, try to figure out what's going on with your connection. Try to get that going, okay? Thank you, Chen. Thank you, Alexi, for moderating the class. You guys are awesome. Hope to see you in the next class as well. I'm Adrian. I'm signing out for now, but I'm back after a short break. Bye, everyone.